Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Kevin and this is the Red Pilling channel. So I want to discuss a little bit about conservatism. What is conservatism? What is the problem right now? You know, because there's such a divide right now. What is it? Who's the real conservative basically? And honestly, I've kind of explained this before a little bit in some of my previous videos, but we are definitely a big tent. And so there are different factions of conservatism, and you could argue that there are definitely different priorities that some conservatives have. They're not all universally focused on this direction. Some are more focused here or not. What I do think is we do have to come to grips on what our focuses should be. And I think I've said this in one of my last videos that protecting the family has to start being a focus because the family has been destroyed. Preserving the mom, the dad, the children, promoting nuclear families. That's really where building strong families is where only way I think you can save America in the West. And right now, family's broken and it's been manufactured that way. So, the free market's fine and all, conserving the free market, conserving this, okay, well, all right, but that's not going to matter if you have a fractured families. It's just not, it can't. So, and that's my problem I have with like the Ben Shapiro wing is all they care about is the free market, liberties, whatever. I mean, Shapiro's a mass, and they also, they love migration too, and it's we have to come to grips that because historically the more Bush wing of the GOP, all they care about is deregulation and cutting taxes and free market and all that stuff. Well, here's the thing. I believe capitalism is the best system we know of. But with this current system, it has to be reformed. We need a real free market. So, I mean, I can't even say we're conserving capitalism because I don't even think we're really truly capitalist anymore either. We're more of a cronyist system that is where the government basically picks winners and losers, just like communism. And so, and to just deregulating and all that stuff, Shapiro comes off more as an elitist who doesn't really care about the little guy. You're responsible for yourself. So definitely the boomer mentality that, and I think the problem is boomers, I think had it quite easy. And I think boomers don't understand the job market that we currently have right now. And because they're retiring now and they just don't understand what we have to go through right now. And so it's easy for Ben Shapiro to say things like, if you don't like New York, go move. Well, first of all, it's not easy to move. You need money to move. And let's face it, young people can learn responsibility and stop. There's a lot of things young people could do, but it still doesn't change the fact that this system is currently broken. And the way some things are shouldn't be either. So there has to be a lot of reform as well. So anyway, so Ben Shapiro's brand, I believe, isn't able to win an election because it shows uncompassionism to people. As for Steven Crowder, I like him more. He's definitely more MAGA. I like a lot of his views on I like him because he's more pro-family. And he's definitely more honest in covering stuff the media won't cover. Definitely more traditional, which I like, but he definitely has a more wide view. I think a lot of MAGA people like him. A lot of people who are a little bit more like traditional like him. I do even think some Groypers like him because, I think now after the way they interviewed the way he treated Nick Fuentes fairly, I do think that gained some respect for doing that. And if you look at Nick Fuentes' interview with Steven Crowder, they actually agreed on quite a bit more than they would admit. I mean, they disagreed on plenty of things, but they seem to agree on the things that mattered the most, which is why I agree with them more. But Crowder, I don't feel, while he definitely is funny, I mean, he does cover, good stuff, but a lot of the time he's just making, with his team, he's just making fun of libs. And let's face it, I don't know if it really expands the base. I feel like his audience still is largely people who already agree with him. And so I don't know, and I don't think Steven Crowder sometimes comes off a little bit like Shapiro. He'll call you lazy or, entitlement and stuff like that. And so I don't know how much his brand works as a whole either. For example, I don't think his type of candidacy can win an election necessarily either, because he comes off as a little too libertarian as well. For example, he's against family leave, which, say you disagree or not, I actually agree with paid family leave largely because most countries have that system, and I'd rather give parents an opportunity to stay with their kids more than just work. And with this current system, you have people can't live off one income. We need to have a case where both mom and dad can see their kids, than just dropping them off at a daycare, to another government school. So family leave is good, and I think that's something that should be discussed. I don't know if that could, with the tariff money. That's why I think the tariffs are good. I don't know if the tariff money can be used to do something like that, but something has to be. I think we have to protect the family. We have to invest in the family. So call it socialism, but it needs to invest in the family, whatever it is. Hungary basically subsidizes people to basically have children, and it's working. And because of it, they're protecting their culture, and they're protecting the family to do that. So yes, I feel like paid family leave as well would be good to have, which I know both Crowder and Shapiro do agree that that's probably not the best way. Now, for Tucker Carlson, you could argue he's not a traditional conservative. Some say he's a little too collectivistic. Some say he's a little too anti-Israel for some of the more mainstream Republicans. Some say he's even too isolationist for some of the, Crowder's a little bit pretty non-interventionist too, but Crowder says Tucker's a little bit too non-interventionist even for him. So but here's the thing, which brand of the GOP is still the most appealing? It's obvious it's Tucker. I mean, Tucker, people don't give Tucker Carlson the credit that I think he deserves for it, but Tucker's the reason the right has even moved to the direction it's in. I don't think it would without Tucker's influence. I mean, he was pushing a moratorium on immigration like 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, and that was before. And now you're having people like Crowder suddenly start realizing that we have to do that. So who's the one pushing the narratives? Tucker was doing it all this time, even before it was popular, yet he's the one that is suddenly not the real conservative. See, for me, I'm really starting to not consider myself a conservative anymore, because both terms are meaningless. They're secular terms, you could say. And it's starting to become relative in general. For me, I'm a nationalist. I'm America first. And I care about America. The only thing that's more important than America is, well, God. And as someone who lives here on Earth, America is where my loyalty is at, because that's where I'm at. And so I care for the people here and care about the interest of what benefits America. So and I care about, families. So this perversion we're seeing that the left has promote, and also anti-leftism. I'm anti-leftism. So if that's conservatism, then okay, but I'm anti-leftism and I'm a nationalist. That's where I stand. But now going back to Tucker a little bit, yeah, you could say he's not a traditional conservative, but is that a bad thing? Because this old guard conservatism that we've had, like Ben Shapiro wing, it isn't winning us elections. And Crowder, again, he makes fun of people a lot, the left. Well, okay, while we do laugh at a lot of the stuff he says and the stuff in his videos, he makes fun of people. So, and that's not going to really win the left over. That's not going to win us elections. So, but Tucker, he listens to people. I think, one, because he actually believes in America first. He definitely embraced it under Trump. And he's listening to the people who have been forgotten. A lot of Tucker's base are normies. They're people who probably feel kind of disaffected for politics, and he has a lot of people who are, you can consider. What is interesting about Tucker? I know leftists for sure hate Tucker too, but if there are people like normie leftists, people like, there are some that actually aren't very woke. They're just really liberal on economics. They actually like Tucker because he's America first. A lot of them were Bernie Bros, even AOC, but they like Tucker because of that. See, Crowder would say, I see you're uniting with leftists. Well, this is the problem, people. To have a big tent, it's a risk. You're going to have people you disagree with. But we have to come together on America First policies. And while we're going to have there are some things we can't compromise on. If we're going to win in the future, we're going to need people that have sanity to basically resist the left. And Tucker does that. Tucker appeals to that. He has more of a broad range. Gen X is the most Republican base out there, age group. I think a lot of them like Tucker, especially young people. Young people really like Tucker because of his America First approach. I think Arabs like him because he's the only conservative that doesn't blame Arabs for everything. And here's the thing. It's not all Jews' fault either. Blaming Jews for everything is dumb too, but some of the conservatives want to blame Muslims for everything. And and you have to remember, Trump did win a lot of Arabs over Muslim Americans because of peace in the Middle East. So Tucker understands what it takes to expand the base. And you are going to have to bring in people if Republicans want to actually win. And the mainstream, I don't feel likes the Big Ten either. So while you can disagree with them on certain things, but it doesn't change the fact that Tucker's wing is the one winning right now. And according to Richard Barris, with all the efforts to basically denounce Tucker from the movement, Tucker has a high majority approval rating, at least 60%. Now, I don't know what Crowder's approval rating is, but I do know Ben Shapiro is definitely shrinking, definitely lower. But I know I think Tucker has a 60% approval rating among Republicans. So who's the real conservative? I mean, they all are conservative in the sense that they both, I think for Shapiro, it's mostly just conserving the market. And, for Steven Crowder, it's, anti-leftism and more social issues. Tucker is more on isolationism and, a little more collectivistic, more compassionate. Yes, you can be capitalist, but, capitalism isn't a religion either. And we should do what we can to help people. So it can come, I don't know what direction it comes in, but he understands that. So what's the real conservative? Who's the real conservative? I mean, it's relative, I guess. They both have things you might agree with. You might agree with them on quite a bit of things, but Tucker's view as a whole seems to be where the base is headed, and even if he isn't as a whole now, I give it in 20 years, is where the base is headed long term, because that's where they're headed. So anyway, that's all I want to talk about. But this whole thing on who's the real conservative is just getting old. Um, it's just, and let's face it, I'm not saying we don't need Shapiro voters. We do. We need those Republicans to vote for us too. So, and a big tent is necessary. It is. But we have to have standards too. And what I like about Tucker is he doesn't force it. He doesn't force it. Like, he doesn't compromise his moral values to please the left. And that's why, but because his messaging on the things that matter, like, staying out of wars, not using the military, policy that will help families, that's why it resonates with people. So he has a wide variety. That's where we have to go to if we want to win. So anyway, that's all I have to say. But, that's just me. I guess I have to pick. I'm more on the Tucker wing, I guess. But, again, the goal needs to be defeating the left. But we do have to be aware of the grifters within the party, because there are people from within that want to destroy it from within. So anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like this video, please like. If you let me know what you think down below, what you think. But if you also like this channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notification. The Red Pilling channel out.